Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their new comics, books, novels, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows and films that are in active development and different phases of development as well. That's going to really be all done by FAVREAU, Filoni, Lucas, and other creators coming on board over at Lucasfilm to really propel Star Wars in a better path. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, that brings us to where we are today. There's a lot of things happening between Disney executives, John and Dave, George Lucas, and people like directors like Peyton Reed coming on board of other Star Wars shows out there. I mean, there's a lot of work being put into what the new universe is going to actually really be built up as from the ground up. Now, that brings us to Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Now, Bob Chapek has been giving Favreau and Filoni numerous types of promotions and different, opportunities over at Lucasfilm, and they've lately been taking over many portions of the creative and financial ends in the spectrum of the Star Wars universe. And that really is giving a lot more fans, more reassurance, more confidence that Star Wars is going to actually see the light at the end of the tunnel beginning next year. Technically this year, with Tales of the Jedi coming out in a couple of weeks. Now, that brings us to the next thing of what Bob Chapek had to respond to when it involves new Star Wars movies, the Skywalker saga, and the concept of episode films, episodic movies, so to speak. So anyways, with multiple new Star Wars projects in different phases of development by Disney and Lucasfilm, Disney executives are actively getting ready to make some big changes to Star Wars when it comes to, of course, continuing the Skywalker saga in live-action form with new movies consisting of episodes 10, 11, and 12. However, in a recent interview with Disney CEO Bob Chapek, he was questioned about new episodic films under Star Wars that would continue the Skywalker saga. Chapek went on to state the following to the fans. Well, you see, something like that if you asked me about 2 years ago, I would have said absolutely not. But this is something most recently that we have been discussing on how we can go back to episode films. Since we know that what Star Wars is mostly known for when it comes to movies, I have meetings every single day and we often go over these plans and ideas on where we can go. That certainly is, of course, one of them. Never say never. There is something more to explore. We initially wanted to stop all the films at episode 9, but why stop there if we can create something powerful as a story that would make sense to the fans? I want to pause here real quick of what Chapek actually said. He openly makes it clear that if he was questioned about this 2 years ago, this would have been an absolute no. And the main reason why is because at the time, right before he actually got involved as the Disney CEO, December of 2019, when episode 9 came out, it was heavily marketed as the end of the Skywalker saga. Like, that's it, it's over. So Chapek, when he came on board in early 2020, that's probably why he would have said no right then and there. And that, of course, had a lot to do with the marketing choice of episode 9, really making it concrete in the marketing that this is the last episode movie. Now, in case you guys did not know, George Lucas initially had thoughts of continuing the Skywalker saga all the way up until episode 12 and bringing things full circle like a traditional clock, going through all 12 hours. That's how George Lucas actually used the analogy of it all. And it was a quick little thought of his and something that really, is resonating now with Disney executives. Now, we've already talked about this, but there are already extensive plans for episodes 10, 11, and 12, with new books coming out labeled as 10 through 12 that's going to later be transferred over into movies. The books, by the way, are to actually test the waters and boost the familiarity of this post-episode 9 era with Cade Skywalker and new Skywalkers in general, new foes, new environments, you name it, the new Jedi Order, the new Jedi themselves, etc. So, That brings us to the next subject here, is that he goes on to say, it just needs to make sense for us to really make this happen. Beyond that, I really can't go further into this or say much, but we have some pretty big ideas. Apart from what Chapek stated here, however, this all alludes to the big things happening with episodes 10 through 12 that will first be made into books to be published by 2024, followed by the films that are planned to enter into production starting in 2026, featuring a new story of Cade, Skywalker, and new Sith Lords. Favreau and Filoni have already been approached by Disney to be involved with the new movies to a degree, but Disney is focused on getting some big-name writers and directors, also with the assistance of John and Dave. The overall plan is to get these movies out and actually upcoming in theaters for fans by either 2027 or 28. Now, that is a very long time from now, don't get me wrong, but if you look at it in stages, alright, the plan is to get these books out and rolling by 2024. That's really not all that far away if you really think about it, depending on what part of the year. And followed by that, they want to begin production by 2026 for the new first installment, episode 10. That's the overall game plan, and that's exactly why they keep on canceling these solo movies. You guys may very well be aware that Rogue Squadron is no more. That was going to be Patty Jenkins' movie. Now completely out the window. It's not happening. It's off of the roadmap indefinitely. And Taika Waititi is also on the fence. He's actually, in the talks with Disney executives as we speak. They want to get rid of him as well because of what happened with Thor, Love and Thunder, not doing well with the critics, not doing well with the audience, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing about Love and Thunder is that, yes, it is true, critics liked it more than the audience, but the audience, to me, is what really matters. So, at the end of the day, I think it, really is a telltale sign here that Chapek wants to actually say something, but he obviously can't, and it also alludes to what we have been talking about, what's happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm for the past year and a half now, to continue the episode movies. Let's face it, guys. Solo movies are great and all. Spin-off movies are fantastic. I get it. They're entertaining. They're fun. But let's not deny the fact that when it comes to Star Wars movies, the real magic of them all is the opening crawl, the famous John Williams music playing with the opening crawl, the famous, moment where the camera moves downward and aims toward either a Star Destroyer and or a planet. I mean, it's just the tradition of Star Wars and having those episode Roman numeral movies. That's what Disney is actually trying to do, to give it one last shot, to really make sure that they can actually give us a second chance when it comes to a new, real trilogy. Episodes 10 through 12. So that's why they're doing books first, movies second. And the movies are going to be based on the books, loosely, not beat for beat. So with that being said, obviously there's a lot of things happening here behind the scenes with John and Dave. Disney wants to get experienced writers for these new films, and things are happening. It's going to take a very long time, though. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.